Whether this week is a huge incident, I'm sorry, I'm a historian, will only know in the future. Only the outcome will determine. But I think what this week has shown is that profound changes have happened. The two things about these riots. The first is, in one sense, they're completely superficial. Somebody brilliantly put it there, it's shopping with violence. It's merely extended commercialism. I think, for me, the key image was the woman coolly trying on a pair of trainers outside a looted shop. So that's one aspect of it. The other, though, I think there has been a profound cultural change. I've just been rereading Enoch Powell, The Rivers of Blood speech. His prophecy was absolutely right in one sense. The Tiber didn't foam with blood, but flames lambent wrapped round Tottenham and wrapped round Clapham. But it wasn't intercommunal violence. This is where he was completely wrong. What's happened is that a substantial section of the chavs that you wrote about have become black. The whites have become black. A particular sort of violent, destructive, nihilistic gangster culture has become the fashion. And black and white, boy and girl, operate in this language together. This language which is wholly false, which is a Jamaican patois that's been intruded in England. And this is why so many of us have this sense of literally a foreign country.
In that speech, Enoch Powell talked about 15 or 20 years' time, the black man having the whip hand over the white man.
That's not true. What's happened is black culture. This is the enormously important thing. It's not skin colour, it's cultural. Listen to David Lammy, an archetypical, successful black man. If you turned the screen off so you were listening to him on radio, you'd think he was white.
David, absolutely not at all, really. You know, of all the theories we've heard this week, this whole notion that this is down to the way that some young people may choose to speak, that people, I suppose, people, David, like myself, who may be talking a particular way, that's why we've got...
Like them. You don't talk like them.
Them. It's a them. This is the problem. It's a them and us culture. We can't keep thinking of this as a them and us argument. We keep talking about different communities. You keep talking, David, about black culture. Black communities are not homogenous groups.
Of course not.
So there are black cultures, yeah, lots of different black cultures. What we need to be doing is we need to be thinking about ourselves as not individual communities, as one community. We need to stop talking about them and us. We need to be talking about our children. We need to be using words like we and stop putting this blame on different people. The blame culture has got to stop. We've got to face head on what the issues are. Just to understand,
when you're saying that white culture has adopted black culture, are you saying that has been at the heart of the rioting? Is it black culture that has caused rioting?
Remember, what we're dealing with, listen to these boys. Listen to...
I think you should answer the question, David.
No, is that what you're saying, that black culture is the cause of rioting?
This is the text sent by the girl who had been the Olympic ambassador, who then engages in shocking acts of looting. Pigs shouldn't have killed that guy last night in it. Dende wouldn't get blown up. Gal's going to steal, wheeze. But it's stealing Dewey. The shopkeeper ain't fucked their mugs.
No, sorry, excuse me. Utterly outrageous, obviously, what you're saying. What you're doing is you're equating black culture with criminality and
you are.
Let me finish. No, and you said. Let me finish. And you said David Lammy, when you heard him, sounded white, and what you meant by that was that white people equals being respectable, and that white people, by adopting black cultural norms. Look, black culture in this country has had a huge contribution. Our music and a whole range of cultural ways.
You glorify rap?
Well, David, I use rap in schools to teach children literary devices, and it is a fantastic way
for children. It's very good for rhythm and the literary.
Wait.
To re-engage boys.
Do you equate rap with rioting on the streets? Is that what you think?
Well, it certainly glorifies it.
Actually, if you look at rap actually glorifies some rap. If you look at their videos, actually, it reinforces the materialistic world that we live in. When was the last time you watched a rap video or looked at a rap song? Tell me about a rap artist, David.
David, how much do you actually know about hip-hop? I'm genuinely curious to know about this, because you're a historian, you deal with empirical evidence, you base your theories on evidence. So explain what your evidence is before you make, frankly, what a lot of viewers will find offensive generalisations.
I think in these are times when we need plain speaking. And plain speaking is necessary. You remember, I'm going to give you them. If you will stop interrupting, you're getting a sort of doing a trainee Jeremy Paxman. I took part in Jamie's Dream School. I was involved in this. We used rap. We used rap to explore particular notions of masculinity, of violence, of dominance, of the relationship between old aristocratic violent practice and modern gang culture. So, I mean, it's interesting. It is historically interesting.
So when we look at the facts, just bringing this back to the rioting, when we look at the facts, clearly it was not a riot that was only dominated by black people. It was there were many white people. We've seen the training that gave them courts. Are you saying those?
It started as a black protest about the killing of a black man. And so, can we just have that fact absolutely
a peaceful protest originally?
Actually, a community protest.
It very quickly ceased to be
peaceful. And we've got to understand, in Tottenham in particular, OK, where, look, in this country, black people are 30 times more likely to be stopped and searched. In Tottenham, 1 in 2 people... Let me finish.
80% of gun crime is black.
1 in 2 people, 1 in 2 kids in Tottenham grow up in poverty.
I know.
And there's a sense of harassment by the police. And this is just the latest, let's not forget, in an example of a civilian killed in very dubious circumstances. And what the IPCC originally came up with, that they'd fired...
I'll tell you,
is it any wonder I want to move this on slightly, because David Cameron, interestingly enough, said this wasn't about race at all. He thinks it's about crime. No, he said crime, actually. Let's look at the damage to the social fabric in terms of what this says. You talked about shopping, the sort of shopping violence.
Shopping with violence, yeah.
Do you think, Drida, that this is part of an acquisitive culture, that sort of endless consumerism? It wasn't mindless rioting, it was rioting with a very clear commercial purpose.
Actually, we are the society, we've tripped ourselves up, because what have we emphasised to our children in terms of success? Success equals money. That's what we've been saying to our children for such a long time. Success equals money. So is it any wonder that the type of shops they were looting, it was all about materialism? And, if you think about it, we've had a recession. One of the issues of our recession is about the way that banks behave. We let our banks off, basically.
I don't remember. Were any banks attacked?
I don't remember bankers.
No, the analogy being made to feral bankers, feral looters.
But interestingly enough, despite all this stuff on politicians, on the press, on bankers, no public buildings were attacked. Now, if you get a real political outbreak, public buildings are attacked. Can we just move on to something?
No. So that kind of protest is OK?
No, it's not OK. I mean, I don't actually think that I don't think there is a human right to riot. But can we just...
There's a right to protest.
No, there's a right to protest.
Yeah.
But can we just sort of try and turn this around? I am not attacking these groups.
What do you mean by these groups, David? Unpick for us what you mean by these groups.
No, please. Why, you correctly say, these people feel excluded, they're poor, they can't get jobs, they're searched by the police. Now, why is it that these groups, particularly in these areas, you were saying black men...
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example, David.
Can we just look at the actual... Look,
can we just look at...
David, I'll give you an example. I was on my way to this building last year, David.
No, listen, OK, I'm going to stop this here, because you are using black and white culture interchangeably as good and bad. And I want to know how much damage you think this has done to the fabric of society.
I think it's done very considerable amount. But what I would like to see is a recognition that what is the way out for these boys and girls? The way out.
And you think that's by dropping black culture?
No, I think it's a particular form. I think it, why is it so important to do so? Because this type of black male culture militates against education.
This is nothing to do with that.
Owen Jones, there will be people watching who think that black culture is synonymous with gang culture, at least.
Absolutely, and that is something which we need to obviously fight against. Look, there's an angry backlash going on at the moment, and understandably so, People felt terrorised in their own communities. I felt that and my friends felt that. And there's a dangerous climate at the moment, I think, where to even begin to understand the underlying social and economic causes is seen as justifying mindless thuggery. And it's not to do that, but we have to accept there is a problem in this country in the sense that, for example, 1 in 5 young people are now out of work. If we're looking actually at black men in this country, young black men, it's half of all young black men. Now, if you just have a tiny proportion of people who feel they have no future, that they have no legitimate future ahead of them, just a tiny proportion take to the streets in the way that happened this week in the most tragic of ways, then that is enough to cause chaos on the streets. And unless we solve that, this will happen again and again.
Thank you all very much indeed. We've run out of time, but thanks very much for coming in.